from the Chicago sideline sometime last week, and all types of rumors and misinformation going about as to why that exactly was. The Bears said he was stepping away for health reasons. That's the one I'm going to go with until something else is confirmed. But nonetheless, he will not be there tomorrow as the Bears take on the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Fields will, and his offensive coordinator Luke Getsy will, and head coach Matt Eberflus will. Yeah. And in his one of the press availabilities on, I want to say it was Wednesday, Justin Fields said that coaching was one of the major things that was holding him back, and then felt the need to clarify the comments after practice. And then on Thursday, during practice, went up to offensive coordinator Luke Getsy and gave him a hug in the media viewing portion of the practice to make sure that all the Chicago media saw, hey, much ado about nothing here. I honestly thought the quote
like Van Gundy and Dwight Howard.
Well, to me, I thought
the hug part, right?
Yeah, sure,
yeah.
But it wasn't. But Justin Fields wasn't doing exactly how Dwight Howard did it, right? Where he was like, "Yo, basically, I don't like Stan Van Gundy," and then went up to him and gave him a hug right when he was about to get fired.
Yeah.
I think honestly, though, when you think about a guy like Justin Fields who has been a first, second read guy, and then let me get out of the pocket, let me go move around, let me make something happen.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's saying about coaching when he's like, "Yo, I'm not used to reading 3-4 guys on a play, and it's making me think too much on the field." I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did. I thought the apology bit was a bit overblown, but ultimately, Justin Fields has not been good so far in the NFL, and call me crazy, but all through high school, he was the second-ranked quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence. All through college, he was the second-ranked quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence. Then the draft process comes, and somehow Zach Wilson passes him. Somehow Trey Lance passes him, right? And then Mac Jones was argued to almost pass him, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the hang-ups that I saw when he was at Ohio State and Georgia before, you see in the league now. But he has the ability to be a productive quarterback. He has the ability to be a productive quarterback, and I don't understand why you're not running. Like, you're dropping him back like he's Aaron Rodgers. Why not look at what Anthony Richardson is doing, look at what Jalen Hurts were doing, and just
Lamar Jackson?
Boom. Even there you go.
And just
copy C, copy V into your playbook, and then just run it like that, especially in this league where athletic quarterbacks are running the show right now.
Yep, I'm with you on that, man. And I'm backing Justin Fields on this. He hasn't been good, neither have the Bears. That's why he hasn't been good, because the Bears ain't been good. 5-22 is his record. 26 touchdowns to 24 interceptions. As far as his touchdowns to interception ratio goes, he's at about 60% of completion percentage right now in his career. But he just got a bona fide number one. They let their best running back go. And that's why I asked Mr. Tyler Dragon, we had him on from USA Today, the question that I asked him about the Bears: what's going on up there? Something's afoot. Like, something's up. This is not normal. This is a bad situation. And he talked about optimism. I didn't have no optimism. I'm not saying him. He said some Bears fans had optimism going into this year. I had zero expectations.
BJ, let me tell you something.
The
amount of people
going into
remember when
the
I told you about people who were betting on Shador Sanders or Travis Hunter to win the Heisman in week one? I was like, okay, I can see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I can see it. The amount of people I saw making bets for Justin Fields to win the MVP?
No, come on. See,
no. I'm telling you, there were people that I know that I really value some of their betting advice. I'm like, what in the world do y'all see?
Yeah, what do you see? No, and see,
how are we going to pass most improved player for MVP first of all? But anyway,
I'm with you on that. But that's why I say, have some type of streamline, okay? Like, stay the course of your opinion in what you're saying. Justin Fields winning the MVP, and that's my guy. I like him, and I'm going to support him and stick by him until they get him some better things going in Chicago. But to tell me that he's going to win MVP this year, there's not enough pieces around him for him to win 5 or 6 games. I think Chicago's a 3 or 4 win team. Guys, they had the number 1 pick for a reason. They had the number one. Remember, they traded it. They had the number one pick. They traded the pick to Carolina. They should have had the number one pick, which means they were the worst team in the NFL last year. And even when the draft was over, there were plenty of people that looked around and said, wow, they didn't really help themselves in the draft where they probably should have. When you have a quarterback, and this is the recipe, and it's crazy that it's taken so long for most people to see. When you have an offensive coordinator type offensive head coach that's calling the offense, calling the plays, he gets his quarterback, he puts the system in place, they're normally middle of the road to successful. But defensive-minded coaches with offensive star quarterback, it's not going to work. But it just doesn't. There's so many examples. But I push back on that because here's the thing. What type of coach is Deion Sanders? Deion Sanders, now you're not going to like my answer. He's a football coach. But that and Deion is a football coach. That is the freaking point. He's a football coach. But that's the point. Because what are we talking about? A defensive head coach, an offensive head coach? Like, I understand, and I understand the talking point. But once you get to be a head coach, you got to be a head coach. But you got to connect with your quarterback. He's the most important person, Martin. That's what I'm saying. That's your job. Whether or not you are. How do you know how to do that? Because you are the head coach. That's your freaking job. Saying. You're the head coach. I feel what you're saying. You got to be able to do it. Yeah. Like, I don't give a damn if you have to do it. You got to be able to connect with your offensive players, your defensive players. John Harbaugh was the damn special teams coach. He could figure out how to connect with his quarterback. You know why? Because he's a grown-ass man calling the shots as a head coach. I want to get back to the NFL, VJ, because you made a point when we were talking about Justin Fields and Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy and the whole operation in Chicago. And I said, you know what? We're yelling at each other in a commercial break. Let's do this at the 7 o'clock hour. Yep. What you got? Yep. Well, I feel like when you are a defensive-minded coach and you become a head coach, I'm agreeing with you where I say that you have to take on all the responsibilities. You have to take on hiring. You need to get a better offensive mind in there to make sure that your quarterback is good to go and your offense is good to go. You can oversee everything. Still maybe even go get yourself a great defensive coordinator, even though you're the defensive-minded coach. But if you just go through and look at the league and look at the successful teams, the teams that win, the teams that are always there towards the end, at least to the divisional round, it's normally offensive-minded style coaches and a star-type quarterback. The other way around just does not work unless you have the GOAT and Mr. Thomas Brady. Unless you got him, it's probably not going to work. I don't love Pat Mahomes as much as everybody else does, but he's also got the best coach in football who's been one of the best offensive schematic guys and play callers in football for the last 20 years, guys. It's nothing new. Andy Big Red Reid's been doing this. If you go and you look at what's in Cincinnati, who's their head coach? What is he known for? What type of quarterback does he have? Let's go down to South Beach where the Corky is. Told a really good story on The Pivot, too. If you haven't watched Mike McDaniel on The Pivot, talk about the pregnancy and his wife and they couldn't have a kid and da-da-da. It just really breaks down all the professional things around him and you see the human he is. It makes me love him as our coach because you guys know I play for the Dolphins, too. As our coach, yes, as our coach, you just love him even more. But offensive mind guy, run program guy in San Francisco, innovative guy. What's he got? Quarterback. McVay. What's he got? Quarterback. Shanahan. What's he got? Quarterback. Look at the successful teams, Brock guys. Purdy? Yeah, bro. Well, it's working. I'm not going to knock it. It's working. And if I can go to San Fran just for 10 seconds, listen, man, I'm sold. I'm sold on them as a team. I'm not sold on Purdy, but damn, they look good. They can stop you on defense. They can rush the passer. Bosa got his money. Didn't look like he missed no time from the field. They can get the ball to so many different players offensively. He's doing what you love, Martin. He's doing what he's asked to do, and I give Purdy that. I'm not sold that you're going to go win with him, but I agree with you, too, and I was surprised to hear you say this to Tyler Dragon. He puts the ball in dangerous positions. He puts the ball at risk like the Giants should have had 3 interceptions the other night. The Giants should have had 3 interceptions. Now, that's on them. And if you get away with it, you get away with it. But I feel strong about that. You bring up Harbaugh. He's just, that's a small percentage. He was smart enough to make sure you had a good offensive coordinator for Joe Flacco. I got the defense and special teams. You take care of the offense. We get Joe Flacco, get all these weapons. Go. Guess what we do? Go win a Super Bowl. Sean McVay, give me a quarterback. Guess what we do? Not just go to one Super Bowl, go to the second one, win it. So that's why I kind of stand on that. The teams that are struggling with a perceived future quarterback, just go look at Buffalo, right? We think Buffalo's taking a stand back. What's their head coach? Defensive-minded type guy. He had Dable. Dable got away. What happens? They start to regress. I mean, proof is in the pudding. I don't even like no damn pudding.
I don't buy it one bit.
I know you don't.
I don't buy it one bit because also, too, you got to look at the hiring cycle of NFL head coaches. We did this in the offseason, and you kind of was like, wow. But if you think about it, 10 of these guys, anywhere from 5 to 10 of these guys are going to be fired in the next 15 weeks.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right? And out of that, you have Tomlin, Harbaugh, Shanahan, Bill Belichick.
What are you naming? Veteran coaches?
I'm naming coaches that have been there for longer than 7 years off the top of my head.
Okay.
But those guys you assume are not going to be fired, right?
Yeah.
Even McVay now at this point, been up there for Pete Carroll.
Yep.
Been there for a while, okay?
Yeah, they're not getting fired.
They're not getting fired this year.
Yeah.
Right? But like a guy like Kevin Stefanski, you're in year 3. Good luck.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
right?
Seriously.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A Kevin O'Connell in year 2, after you made the playoffs, and he's taking a step back. If the Vikings take the step back, hell, they're already 0-2.
Yeah.
Good luck. Zach Taylor, I know that they made this Super Bowl, but like when you watch the Cincinnati Bengals, are you sitting there like, oh man, Zach Taylor's really drawing it up?
Yeah.
Or is it the Jimmy and the Joes? It's Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, and Joe Burrow tying it all together, right? And then defensively, Lou Anarumo is the guy getting it done.
Yeah.
Right? What matters about being a head coach is being in charge. Because everybody on the team has a designed role. All right? Yep. Your offensive coordinator's role is to get first downs and score points. Your defensive coordinator's role is to stop the offense from getting first downs and stop them from scoring points. Your special teams coach, make sure the kicker kicks the ball straight, and you're not and you're disciplined in your run lane.
Say you cover the kicks.
Down and you're covering kicks.
Yep.
The only person whose job description has win in it is the head coach. So, like, miss me with offensive head coaches and defensive head coaches and so on. It's a lazy cop-out. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing in this moment.
No, I get what you're saying.
But it's a lazy cop-out to make an excuse as to why this defense is not good or this offense is not good. Like, Kyle's like, you know why? A big part of the reason why, I imagine, the Bears' offense is no good? Luke Getsy's never called plays before. All right? Am I saying Justin Fields is a world beater? I'm not. However,
he needs better coaching.
We assume that because this guy was hired to do the job, that he is by definition going to be good at it.
Yeah.
And it is a mind-boggling assumption when you see the turnover in the coaching ranks. A third of the league is going to fire their head coach in the next 24 months. What did it matter if it was an offensive or a defensive guy? No, what matters is the guy who could figure it out.
Yeah.
What matters is a guy who could take responsibility for all of it. Because you know what? You know why I was down on the 49ers to start the year? Because they have lost so many coordinators. Robert Saleh's gone. DeMeco Ryans is gone. And DeMeco Ryans took Bobby Slownick with them from San Francisco. And then you take Mike McDaniel, former run game guy. All of these guys now, save Bobby Slownick, are head coaches. Right? That's a lot to lose.
Yeah.
But you know what Kyle Shanahan keeps doing? Making good hires. You don't want Steve Wilkes, Carolina? I'll come over and have this guy being a completely look. Steve Wilkes is what's the word? He's underemployed.
Might be the second best defense in football behind Dallas.
He's underemployed right now.
Yeah.
It's like having the manager working the register, right? With Steve Wilkes being the defensive coordinator because he is good enough at this point has shown
to be a head
coach. Is good enough to be a head coach.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you know what Shanahan said? No. Run that. Come back over here.
Yeah.
Come back over here.
I got some studs for you.
Meanwhile, Robert Saleh's hiring Nathaniel Hackett to be his offensive coordinator.
Well, they also thought they would have, to their defense on that, they also thought they would have discount double check.
I understand you think you're going to have Aaron Rodgers, but what is it about what Nathaniel Hackett did last year makes you think you want to run him in and call your offense?
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but like maybe just not the best idea because that's why the Broncos hired him too, right? It's just it gives all these coaches an excuse as to why they are not out there producing. Oh, you know, you got to wait for Brendan Staley. His defense has got a defensive head coach. The Chargers have had 0 turnovers this year and can't win. Why? Because they got 500 yards of offense to the Miami Dolphins. and then blew it in week 2.
Oos.
So you see, where's Brandon Staley's great defense?
To the Titans.
To the Titans.
To the Titans.
Where's Brandon Staley's great defense? Ryan Tannehill looking like Steve McNair.
Yeah.
Right? So the whole missed me with that. And you know the number one, we're talking about the biggest difference right now in football as a whole. It's Deion Sanders. You tell me what kind of coach Deion Sanders is. Is he an offensive coach? Is he a defensive coach?
He's a CEO.
He's a CEO. Exactly.
He's a CEO.
He coaches the whole damn game.
Yeah.
He coaches the whole
program.
The whole program.
program.
He's not afraid to walk down to Sean Lewis, who's been a head coach in college, and say, hey, we need to do this on offense. Go to his defensive coordinator and say, hey, we need to do this on defense. You know why? Because that's his damn job.
There was an exchange in practice between him and the D coordinator earlier this week. They didn't get a lot of pub, but there was an exchange between them where he was trying to get his defensive coordinator. I guess basically wasn't happy with what was going on in practice and let him know about it in front of everybody.
It's just mind-boggling. And I know Alabama hasn't looked great this year. Losing to Texas, 17-3 to South Florida. Handled Ole Miss today, but still not necessarily as dominant as you'd expect.
Yeah.
But Nick Saban has a 29-3 record against his assistants. You know why? Because he hired good ones after they left.
Yeah, he did. And they can't come back and beat him. Now, my rebuttal to that would be this, though. The ultimate goal is to win. Like, to win the championship is the ultimate goal. You could get by with maybe 500, 58% winning percentage as a defensive-minded head coach. But if you go look at just the past 20 Super Bowl winners, just the last 20, if you take Belichick, okay, Belichick's got 7 or 6 of those, right? You take those 6 out, the only other defensive-minded style coach that would have won one would have been Pete Carroll and would be John Harbaugh. All the other coaches are more, like I said, connected to the offensive side of the ball, connected to their quarterback. I agree with what you're saying and what a head coach should be. But I do believe that when you are a head coach and you are overseeing the entire operation and you are the offensive brain on the team, I think that matters a lot more because at the end of the day, yeah, they defense wins championship. No, what wins championships is who scored the most damn points. And you score points on offense unless you get a defense to get a pick six or scoop and score or block kick return. But for the most part,
tell that to the Steelers on Monday night.
You score, yeah, exactly. But can they carry that? Can they carry that? Now, Mike Tomlin also, defensive-minded guy too, but I mentioned him during the commercial break. He's smart enough to hire a Todd Haley that could come in and work with your superstar quarterback, your franchise guy, and Big Ben Roethlisberger. I just think that when you're a defensive-minded coach and you're going to get the head coach's job, fine, but you better bring in the greatest free agent mind out there offensively, because if you don't, you are going to succumb to being fired, like Martin is saying, in 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, and you're going to succumb to your quarterback looking like he can't get it done. But you're not giving him the power that he needs. You're not giving him the teaching tools to Chicago. Justin Fields needs better coaching, bro.
But the thing about the Super Bowl champions, that's a misnomer. And I found this out doing this research when everybody's talking about, well, you look at the winning running backs, and this is, running backs don't matter because look at the last Super Bowl winner, right? Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's just run it back.
Okay.
Kansas City, Hall of Fame quarterback Patrick Mahomes. The Rams won the one before that. Matt Stafford. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but there's a lot of people who are on that corner.
Right here.
I'm sorry. I watched Aaron Rodgers run that division for way too long to say Matt Stafford's a Hall of Famer.
That's not fair.
But that's neither here nor there.
That's not fair.
Matt Stafford, highly talented, former number 1 overall pick. All right. The next year, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, first ballot Hall of Famer. The next year, the year prior, Kansas City, another first ballot Hall of Famer, Tom Brady. Again, before that. Now you get into Philadelphia, who had Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. That's weird. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that's more one of those, that's weird.
Doug Peterson, the offensive-minded guy.
Then you had New England the year before that, Tom Brady, Denver, Peyton Manning, New England, Tom Brady, and then Seattle the year before that. So if you go back in the last 10 years, right, I agree. You should try to draft a Hall of Fame quarterback. They'll probably win the Super Bowl, right? But if you can't, I would look at the teams that are the most successful. Look at a guy like Kyle Shanahan. What is he doing? Trading for Christian McCaffrey, the most explosive back in the game, and then B, hiring new guys. And he's had a period of consistency throughout. Philadelphia Eagles, right? They won a Super Bowl in 2017. Been pretty much in the fight. They're out. Why? Because they're hiring new guys. It's just the thing about it is, it drives me nuts to hear about how you can't win with an offensive head coach. You can't win with a defensive head coach. No, either one. You can't win without a head coach that's not going to take responsibility for all three phases of the ball, because that's what his job is. Everybody else has a different job. The head coach is the only one with the win-loss record attached to it, and never forget it.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but if I had a choice to take an offensive or defensive-minded guy, like in Miami, if somebody goes, hey, VJ, you want an offensive-minded guy for Tua or a defensive-minded coach? I'm saying, no, give me the offensive-minded guy, because we got to develop Tua. You can get somebody to come coach the defense, but we got to develop our quarterback, and it needs to be the top guy there that's doing it just the way I would like it to be.
I think the top guy needs to be in charge of everything, not just the quarterback, because everything is what he's responsible for.